I'm Francesca Catlow. I'm the author of The Little Blue Door, and today I'm here to be interviewed by you because lots of you sent in questions for me to answer, and here I am to answer them just for you. Why a blue door? Okay, so firstly, in Greece generally, there's a really big association with blue doors. It's a popular colour choice. I think a lot of it is also to do with beautiful photos of islands like Santorini as well that have filtered their way into advertising for the tourist industry, for tourism, and how the beautiful whitewash buildings with the blue doors are just super stunning. But within the book realms, there is a door that the protagonist, Melodie, actually has to go to and knock on, that even though it's this little beat up blue door, it's sort of intimidating for her. So it's a big turning point in her life as well. So I named it The Little Blue Door. How did I meet my husband? Yes, just like the start of all wonderful romance novels. We met, we started talking on MySpace because he liked my profile photo. He messaged me and I was very polite but mostly ignored him. And then we bumped into each other out and about around town. We lived quite in close proximity and we just got on really, really well. So I was a bit mean to ignore his messages initially, but everything worked out okay. Not really the great romance novel beginning, but we all start somewhere. So the first time we went to Corfu was 2018, and that was our son's first ever holiday, and he was only about 7 months old. So it was a really, really horrible flight, and we arrived, and to be honest, there was part of me that's like, why are we doing this? Why are we here? What's going on? And then it was quite a late flight, so we arrived, it's dark, got there in the dark, dusty path, dropped our bags, feeling rubbish. And then the next morning, everyone's sort of asleep apart from me waking up and then our son, and holding him, and I opened the shutters and looked out to the balcony, opened the balcony, and we just had this beautiful view across the sea. And I think it was just that moment. I mean, I love Greek islands. I've been to quite a few. There's not one that I've gone, oh, I don't like it here. I've literally loved every single place I've been. But Corfu, in that moment, I was like, yeah, I'm loving this. I'm home almost, you know, just that, yeah, this is right. And in that moment, I wasn't wrong. Favourite chapter? Okay, this has been the hardest question by far. I picked up the book again. I gave it a skim look, thought about it. I have lots of favourite parts. A specific chapter, I don't think I would just be lying if I picked one. I really like how it ends. I love some of the bits in Agios Stefanos because that's very homely to me and my experience of Corfu. But, you know, everything that's in the book is leading across a journey that Melodie's on. And without those bits, you can't gauge the whole picture of her and her psyche and where she's at. So, you know, it all needs to be there and I can't pick a favourite. Sorry. Oh, another really hard question. Okay, so what do I like most about Agios Stefanos? Now, there's lots of stuff I love. I love the people, I love the food, I love the beach, I love the sea, I love the little church at the top. It's all just gorgeous and wonderful. I think My favourite part of Agios Stefanos, I think it's actually I'm gonna go with the diversity of the tavernas, because you've got all these amazing, like mostly like family run businesses that are fantastic with this really homely appeal, but they also manage to cater for whatever you're looking for. So if you want to see some authentic Greek dancing, you can go one place, and you want a bit of free orange cake, you go to another place. You know, just the diversity and all feeling authentic and Greek, and but there's like those differences, and you want a loud fun-filled night, you know where to go, you want a quiet little meal with the family, you've got it all there. All with the really authentic element. I just love it. I just love it all. The hardest part of writing the book, so the sitting down and writing part mostly came pretty naturally to me, to just sit down and write a story. It just kind of came tumbling out, and I just went with it. After that, it was reading it back and editing. So I started off with a 40,000 word draft, which I was just like the bones of the story. This is a story, lay it all out. And then I had to go back and go through it and edit it and bulk it out and discuss it and think about it and really go, actually, it's really important to have this knowledge and really important for this character development part. So the amount of editing, I didn't really anticipate for how long editing would take. But more difficult than that is getting people, as in like giving it to people you care about to read. So the first person who read it in dribs and drabs was my husband, which I didn't find that scary. But when I had to send it to my mum via email, and I was just like there hovering over, my mum will tell me if this is rubbish, and I think it's good. So if she says it's rubbish, I know it's actually rubbish, and it being okay is in my head, which was more scary than writing or editing any words. So yeah, actually the scariest thing about writing, or the hardest part of writing, was sending it, and then sending it to publishers as well, and waiting for feedback and to see if anyone would have faith in me. Luckily they did. Yay. Thank you, Silverwood. You're amazing. A favourite book? I can't say that I have one favourite book. I probably have top 5 in different genres, and sometimes I read books and I love them, and I can't remember even what they're called like years later, and I think, oh, what was that book? I loved that book, and I can remember the story of it and not the name, which is really frustrating. I do that quite a lot with books. I like the Time Traveller's Wife, the Outlander series. You know, they are romance ones that I love. I also really enjoyed Papillon. Wish I could read French well enough to read it in French. I would be so slow and it would be lost on me 90%, which is very sad. But I also have childhood favourites like James and the Giant Peach and things like that. But just being able to pick one book, that would be very, very tough. So I have loads of books that I really, really love, but not one that I can say that is the book. If I ever find it, I'll let everyone know. So a lot of people asked the question, why Corfu? Which is a good question. I do love a lot of Greek islands, and have a lot of good memories in different places. So I really could have chosen between a few that would have still pulled at my heartstrings. The defining factor here is when I started writing this novel, it was during 2020 lockdown, and I just had my second child, and I think my brain just kept taking me back to Corfu when we first took our son on his first holiday, and desperately wanting to take her to the same place for her first holiday, and how amazing it was. And it just, like, in my sleep deprived brain, Agios Stefanos, Corfu, just kept flooding back to me, and there was no other place. I started writing this story with a girl getting on a plane. Now, when I started writing it, I had no intentional preconceived ideas about it. I just started writing, and then it was Corfu, and it had to be, because that's all my brain kept thinking about was, I want to be in Corfu, I want to take my daughter the same place we took our son. And I didn't have a choice. That's where Melodie was going. She told me that. Not me. It wasn't my fault. This is a funny one, actually. So I thought it was completely random. I just really thought, what a pretty name, and just that was the name I came up with. But then my husband, I don't remember why, he pointed out that basically when my son was a tiny baby, he responded really, really well to Bob Marley music, specifically Three Little Birds. So he would fall asleep to it, and he still does. Literally, that is playing right now, and he is asleep upstairs. And so we used the same thing for my daughter, and I would be feeding her and listening to Three Little Birds and writing on my phone, because it was the only place I had free. I couldn't get a laptop out. I had to do it all on my phone to begin with. And he pointed out, my husband pointed out, you wrote a lot of this story while listening to that song specifically, and others, but that one specifically. And it says melody pure and true in the lyrics. So he thinks it's Bob Marley's fault that my character's name is Melodie. So thank you, Bob Marley, for helping me name my character. So this is the perfect final question, really, isn't it? The answer is yes. I'm about 28,000 words into the second book of the trilogy. So this is actually the first book of 3, following Melodie, so all following the same character. Hopefully you've got your copy now, and if you like it, hopefully you've started reading it, and when you're finished, if you like it, please let me know. If you didn't like it, you can tell me that too. We're all entitled to our own opinions, and I would love to know yours. Also, don't forget to sign up to my newsletter, because there's always loads of prizes, and I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who's there supporting me and my writing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this interview. Thank you all for submitting questions to me, and enjoy The Little Blue Door.